So the Georgia Guidestones have now been completely demolished. Construction crews decided to just level the entire monument. We'll talk about why that possibly is. Now I'm wondering if the crews are going to dig up the time capsule that's somewhere under the ground. Just to give a quick brief, the Georgia Guidestones were etched in many different languages, were placed in positions that line up with the sun, wanted to apparently be Guidestones to an age of reason, and had a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding it because one of the rules was maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. 500 million, of course, way less than we currently have, so a lot of people didn't like that. It was built by an anonymous pseudonym, R.C. Christian, and obviously people had theories about it. But what I want to focus on today is the time capsule placed 6 feet below this spot to be opened on blank. Will the crews dig it up? Will they block it off? Will some lone wolf try to figure it out? Who knows, but I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this exact thing. And while we're on this topic, I do want to talk about the population, because some billionaires believe population growth is spiraling out of control, but Elon Musk is somebody who thinks the exact opposite, that population collapse is the biggest threat to civilization. He actually literally responded to my tweet and said that when I posted this video of him.
Assuming that AI is fine, or assuming that there's a benevolent future with AI, I think that the biggest problem the world will face in 20 years is population collapse. Collapse. I agree. I want to emphasize this. The biggest issue in 20 years will be population collapse. Not explosion, collapse.
We're also going to take some of your comments at the end. Hope you enjoyed today's show. We're live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. And I'm going to replace it with the God bless hat. But yesterday I was talking about how the Georgia Guidestones were partly demolished. Somebody did some sort of explosion. And over the course of the day after I went live, I guess a crew decided to completely demolish the Georgia Guidestones. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But what's really fascinates me, and once again, I just don't want to be blamed for any of this stuff because I've never told anybody to do that. I just covered this topic. I find it fascinating. I'm not telling somebody to go look for the time capsule. I just got to get that out there, or else they'll probably try to blame me or something if somebody does that. But under the ground, a lot of people don't know this with the Georgia Guidestones, there's actually a time capsule, and it says on the ground, time capsule placed 6 feet below this spot to be opened on blank. So this is just my question. It's out there, my curiosity. Whoever built this Georgia Guidestones left some sort of time capsule, as I said, under the ground. Are the crews going to dig it up? Is somebody else going to do it? Are they going to close it off and try to make it illegal? My personal perspective is if you're going to knock down the whole thing like the crews did, you might as well dig up the time capsule. I believe it's time. If the Georgia Guidestones aren't even there anymore, what's the point of keeping that under? I'm very, very curious to see what's inside that. And on the topic for the Georgia Guidestones, the media is like saying, oh my God, there's so many conspiracy theories around it. There's so many conspiracy theories around it. The conspiracy theorists. It's like, how could you not have a conspiracy theory around it? It's this massive, Stonehenge-like monument that is written in multiple different languages. It says to keep humanity under 500 million people. It was erected by a pseudonym, R.C. Christian, who didn't even put their real name. So it's like, how could you not have a conspiracy theory around it? There is no real story to it. Nobody knows who the people are. With that being said, I want to say real quick, what was I going to say? Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. But I don't know. I'm going to bring this up real quick. Sorry about that. But this is in the Independent. I guess there's a GOP candidate who called for the destruction of that, and she recently said God is God all by himself. He can do anything he wants to do. That includes striking down the satanic Guidestones. So she's like claiming it's an act of God that somebody destroyed it. Here's what I'll say. I'm not a fan of the Guidestones and what they represent, but I think it's a little cringy to just be like, God did this. It's like, no, somebody literally just detonated it, and that's how it got knocked down. It's not like God struck it down. I guess there are bad theories. People are like, was it an earthquake? Was it lightning? It's like, no, it was an explosion. Somebody did it. But it's like, God did that. It's like, no, lady, someone with a detonation device did it. But anyway, on that note, the crews knocked it down. I saw a lot of comments saying, well, why would the crew knock it down? Wouldn't it be up to the property owner? I don't know who owns the property or who erected it, so it's hard to really have a say in the Guidestones when you're trying to stay anonymous. Very fascinating stuff, but let me know what you think. Do you think the time capsule should be dug up? Do you think the crews will dig it up? Do you think some lone wolf will go there? I'm not telling somebody to, but I mean, people are curious, just like people have defaced it before. Very, very interesting, but I think that's the mystery left to discover is the time capsule. I want to know what's in it. Hopefully they put their real name and what their true agenda was, besides the agenda that was on the Guidestones. With that being said, the reason that the Guidestones were so controversial is because it said keep the population under 500 million. If you talk about this, I just want to do a quick shout out to the weasels at Science Feedback, the little weaselly, dishonest, fraud, scammer, liar, losers, fact checkers who fact checked my true monkeypox video on Instagram false. Maybe I'm not trying to threaten legality, but it's like if I went to an honest judge, I could prove it's 100% true and they're a bunch of little weasels. But anyway, they tried to claim, oh, you can't talk about Ted Turner. Ted Turner never thinks the population growth is too big. I'm like, are you little weasel liars serious? Sorry, I'm not trying to be annoyed, but my pet peeve is when these little fact checkers come and try to ruin my Instagram account. It's like, can you show your face? I'm not trying to dox you, but who are you? It's like you're the god of information. The fact checkers are here. My video was true, and they're trying to claim that they're like, well, even though your video is true, we went to your Facebook page and you said that Ted Turner believes in, population stuff. It's like, I don't speak for the guy. Here's Ted Turner, and I'm not saying he has anything to do with the Georgia Guidestones, but obviously when you have a fake pseudonym, people are trying to figure out who would want to keep the population under 500 million, And I'm not saying Ted Turner did it, but this was one of the biggest conspiracy theories, as they'd call it, around the Georgia Guidestones, because somebody wealthy, somebody that had enough money and resources clearly commissioned it. But, let's let the fact checkers watch this video. I don't know what they're going to do with this, but it really happened. Let's look.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born,
what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. We're altering the climate and the world in so many different ways. And what we're doing is reducing the Earth's carrying capacity so that each year the natural world gets poorer and less able to support the increasing number of people. We have a finite world, but an infinite ability to increase our population. We've got to stabilize population on a voluntary basis. Everybody in the world's got to pledge to themselves that 1 or 2 children is it.
Right.
And we've got to do that because otherwise all the gains that we make in redoing our energy system are going to be erased by population increase.
Is that did he not say that? I'm not saying he can't say that. He's an American. He's allowed to have his opinion. Elon Musk believes there's, going to be too few people. He believes there's too many. It's up for debate, in my opinion. Anything could be debated. So it's I talk about this, and these little gremlins at Science Feedback, the fact checker organization, are hey, did you say that Ted Turner said that the population? It's he said that. I said that he said that, and I played the video. I don't even know if I'm going to get in trouble. It's dead naming Elliot Page. You can't talk about gender. You can't talk about history. Bruce Jenner was never an Olympian, and Ted Turner doesn't believe in reducing population growth over time. Do we have to play dumb? And, the only way to defeat COVID-19 is to sit in your house and get fatter, It's just shove food in your mouth and watch Tiger King, which I enjoyed, actually, but I enjoy food and Tiger King. So you get what I'm saying? I don't even know what to talk about anymore. But with the Georgia Guidestones being demolished, with the time capsule being there, with all this debate around population, Elon Musk today was talking about population again, and he really believes that population collapse is a massive threat. And here's the video. I'm just going to play this clip again because it's interesting. He's on stage with Jack Ma. And actually a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, I tweeted this and tagged him in it and said Elon Musk is very different from billionaires like Ted Turner, etc., where he actually believes the opposite. And Elon retweeted my tweet and said population collapse is the greatest threat to civilization. So he's, disagreeing with your Bill Gates and Ted Turners of the world, except you just can't say that he's disagreeing with Bill Gates and Ted Turner, because apparently when I say it, the little weasel, gremlin, liar, frauds that I probably should, hold accountable for their little scams. And I mean, like, peacefully, respectfully, because I say that and they're like, you're threatening me. I'm like, no, you're threatening my entire career, you little weasels, by putting a false on my true video on Instagram. I should take you to court and you know, hold you accountable like Alex Berenson did Twitter, because you keep lying. So it's like, that was one of the things that they fact checked for. They're like, Bill Gates and Ted Turner never population dirt. It's like, who are you? You're probably some little like chody gremlin, like just shoving pizza bagels down your throat, being like, I'm a fact checker. Cool, dude. You're so smart. You guys are so cool. You're like little operative agent gremlin little. I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked today, but I'm just so annoyed at these factors. I proved to them that my video was 100% true on Instagram. They're like, yeah, well, I mean, it's true, but we went to your Facebook page and, you know, because it was linked to the Facebook, we can, even though that's true, we've decided that your Facebook was true, but we're just idiots and I'm like, you know what? I need to get a lawyer. These guys are pissing me off. But anyway, here's Elon Musk talking pretty much the opposite of what Ted Turner's saying. Just don't tell them, or else the little, you know, chody gremlins at sciencefeedback.org or whatever their name is are going to freak out.
Assuming that AI is fine, assuming that there's a benevolent future with AI, I think that the biggest problem the world will face in 20 years is population collapse. Collapse. I agree. I want to emphasize this. The biggest issue in 20 years will be population collapse. Not explosion, collapse. It's very easy to see what the world will look like in 20 years because humans have a 20-year boot sequence. So like you say, okay, well, who was born last year? Okay, now you know what the world looked like in 20 years. It's that easy.
I absolutely agree with that. The population problem is going to be facing huge challenge. 1.4 billion people in China sounds a lot, but I think next 20 years we'll see this thing will bring big trouble to China, and the population decreasing of the whole. The speed of population decreasing is going to speed up. Yes. And you call it collapse. I agree with
accelerating
that.
Collapse.
Accelerating
collapse. And then the common rebuttal is like, well, what about immigration? Like, from where? You know?
Yeah, you want to go to space, you know, the Mars will immigrate.
Yeah, Mars needs people
here,
too.
probably.
Like, Mars needs people. Yeah.
All right, calm down with Mars, you know. You're talking about Mars, but you guys haven't put a person on the moon since 1969. I'm not blaming Elon for that, but the NASA guy who's like, we would go back to the moon, we just destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to build back again. It's like, yeah, okay. We're not going back to the moon, but we're going to go to Pluto, guys. Just give us your money, you know. Never mind. But jokes aside, you know, Elon believes that because people aren't having enough kids that there's going to be a massive population collapse problem. And he says it's like a boot sequence. In 20 years, if you want to see how the world's going to look, just look at who the kids are and they're going to grow up. I don't know. I don't have all the answers because certain populations are growing, certain ones aren't. Definitely America is shifting, and you know, that there seems to be a massive agenda there that they don't want you to talk about. And Elon, if you go to his Twitter today, he kind of sounds like a right-wing trad wife or, you know, conservative who's like, have babies, have big families. Like, he's really on the you know, have more kids tip, while the Bill Gates and Ted Turner types are more like, you know, abortions, climate change, you know, let's not spiral out of control. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll bring some of your stuff on. I'm not really well-versed enough to know who's telling the truth, but I tend to think that Elon's a little more on the right page in my perspective, but I don't know enough about it. With that being said, I have noticed, and I might do a whole nother stream on this, why is nobody working? Everywhere's now hiring, now hiring, now hiring. I have a few theories on why that is, and I think I'm going to save it for a whole nother live stream. But imagine a population collapse problem like in 20 years where like there's half as many people, and then a lot of things have to close down. You know, you need workers and people to keep society going. It seems like due to the pandemic, you know, there's been massive shifts in the workforce to the point where like nothing's working anymore. So it'll be fascinating to see what happens in the next 10 years. But I'm going to save a whole thing on that. Let's see. Someone said, Elon is yet another grifter, must space, Mars colonies. It's pretty funny. Comment, I'll put some others. Someone said I would love a stream on that. I keep trying to figure it out myself. I'm going to do what I can. let's see. Give me your opinion on the population stuff, on the Georgia Guidestones. It's going to be all you for like 10 minutes. Let's see. Someone said abolish the United Nations. I'm not a big fan. Someone said Bill Gates has a big fupa. Hey, come on now. That's just disrespectful. Bill Gates has a big plan for humanity that you just can't talk about, right? You can't. This is the rules. You can't talk about Bill Gates in a bad way because, fact check, Bill Gates is your best friend. Fact check, Bill Gates is amazing. You're not allowed to question billionaires except Elon Musk and Donald Trump and, anybody who disagrees with the UN, EU type stuff. But they act like you can't talk about Bill Gates. It's like he's buying farmland. He invests in GMO mosquitoes. He is shaped a little bit oddly, in my opinion, but we're all unique. We're all God's children. Yeah, it's just so weird. You guys understand though. Okay, this is interesting. Somebody has like a theory against this. I'll put this on the screen. George in the Jungle says, well, thank you for joining the stream from the jungle. That's nice of you. He said, anomaly, I don't believe that was an explosion. Why would they destroy the crime scene so quickly? And don't tell me safety reasons because they could have roped off the entire area to protect it. Interesting theory. I mean, I don't live in Georgia. I wasn't on the scene, so I can't really tell you. I think it was an explosion in my opinion, but I don't know. You could think otherwise. I don't really have a strong feeling on it. Maybe this is just my thought. Like when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones, I don't know who owns that land, and it was done anonymously, so nobody really wants to take credit for it. So when you had this explosion, maybe even though only one part fell, it's like uneven now. You get what I'm saying? It could be like a safety hazard if you exploded it to the point where it's not completely fallen, but it's going to fall. It kind of ruins the whole thing because people used to go right up next to it, take pictures, stand next to it. So maybe the crew just demolished it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm open to any ideas. It's not really my forte. So someone said the state owns the land. I'm not familiar with it, but I guess that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I just think if you destroy part of it, it makes sense to demolish it, but I don't know. Let's see. But if someone said lightning hit the Guidestones, I don't think that's true. I think it was an explosion, but people are saying it was lightning. It's an act of God. I'm pretty sure somebody detonated it, but if you want to think it was lightning or whatever, I don't know. On that lady that was like, and if you could prove me wrong and just be like, I have proof it was lightning, I'm not that opinionated about it, but I feel like when there's video footage of the detonation and then you have this like Republican, she's like, holy moly, it's an act of God, and like this is why people are not huge fans of Christians outside of the Christian world. I like Christians, I get what people are doing, but there's a lot of like phony pastors and people that just don't practice what they preach. And a lot of people have had a bad, experience with like a fake Christian or a fake pastor, somebody who's a total scumbag, but they just say, holy moly, but they're just garbage people. I feel like that's so common that so many people have gone away from Christianity because of that. So I think, I'm not blaming this lady or you or anything. I'm just kind of shooting off the top. I think we can't play the victim and say like, oh my God, America's not Christian. It's all the devil's fault. It's all the left wing's fault. It's like, it's also kind of Christians' fault for just like dropping the ball. And even in my personal world, I know so many like fake Republicans, fake Christians. I'm not saying I know a lot of I know more good people than not, but it's like sometimes people are like, I'm a pastor. And then they're like a total garbage person. It's like, that doesn't help. So I'm not knocking this lady, but it's like, I don't know. If you have proof it was lightning, that's one thing. But if there's like proof that it was detonated and we're like, holy moly, God, it's like, no, someone with an explosion device did it, but I don't know. What do I know? Maybe you can prove me otherwise. Someone said Russia did it. I think that's what it was. Putin is everywhere all the time. Putin was in my nightmare last night. I was having a good dream, and Vladimir Putin showed up in my dream and turned it into a nightmare. He did the Georgia Guidestones. He rigged the 2016 election while simultaneously, made the 2020 elections fair. Because 2016, when Trump won, elections are sketchy. But when Biden wins, it's the greatest election ever. I mean, fact check. It's never been better. It's like they're so fake. I wonder if they believe themselves. You don't have to believe Trump's narrative around the election, but like they're like doing fact checks where they're like, fact check, it's actually safer to do mass mail-in ballots. It's the safest, election experts have determined that mass mail-in ballots is the best way to do it. It's like, no, it's not. It's just not. Even if you don't believe Trump's entire narrative, mass mail-in ballots during a pandemic is not the best way to do an election, obviously. But if you, like, fact check, it's never been better. This is the greatest election, economic experts have determined that this is the greatest election ever in human history ever. It's never been safer. It's never been more secure. It's never been better. It's like, no one believes that. But if you want to push that narrative, like maybe there's like 7 grandmas who watch CNN that believe it. They're just on their rocking chair. They're like, man, that Anderson Cooper really shoots it straight, doesn't he? That Jake Tapper. It's like, let's see. I want to get this. This was a good comment. Hold on. Someone said, and I'm going to read my comment. I'm going to try it in a second. Emilia said, but who cares about the people? It's about God. We're not worshiping people. We're not concentrating on people. Who cares about them? Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about God. But, I mean, I do think Christians are taking a beating culturally, and it's not all the left's fault. I think just there aren't a lot of good role models and there's a lot of phonies. So, yeah, it's definitely about God on a personal scale. But, if you want to just pack it in and be like, okay, but I'm just saying, observing wise, I think a lot of people have bad experiences with pastors and churches and just phonies. So if you want to grow, your tribe and make it more known to people and try to save people, I think the best way to save people is to, try to practice what you preach and be the shining light versus just being a fake, like messenger of that. But I don't know. We just talk about stuff here. I guess if you don't want to talk, it's like, don't talk about it. I love God and I don't want to talk about anything ever. It's like, then what's the point of even watching my show? All we do is talk about stuff. So it's like, people get real uptight. They're like, don't talk about the fake Christians. Talk about the Muslims. They're like, okay. I don't know. Whatever. It's about God, sure. But why even do a show then? It's all about God. There's no reason to talk about anything. All right. See you guys later. Someone said RC doesn't sound Christian. Well, yeah, I think the RC Christian or whatever was the pseudonym. I don't think he was a Christian. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but that was just the pseudonym of the person who built the Georgia Guidestones. All right, I'll try to find the comment. Someone's like, Anomaly, find my comment. I'm trying. There's so many comments. I'm trying to pick one. Someone said, yes, I just got played by another priest. Yikes. Good luck. I don't know. Someone said Rosicrucian equals RC. That seems to be the main theory that I've been seeing. RC, they think it's that group of people, but what are Rosicrucians? I don't know. You'd have to look into it. I'm not super familiar. To be honest, the only time I've heard that is like researching the Guidestones. Someone said Roman Catholic Christian. Maybe, but I don't know. Someone said, what I love about you is you speak the truth. Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. And I do my best. I mean, I just try to be honest. I find that in the world of people that are telling the truth, there's a lot of just like ego. It's funny. I went to this conference years ago and there was like an alien panel, right? And these were like 4 alien experts who know secret material. And I'm watching, and it was cool for what it was. I'm not really an alien, I'm not like a massive alien guy or whatever. But all of them, in my opinion, kind of had like a little ego, where like this woman would be like, this cave is where the alien, and then like the guy would be like, I don't think so. I got this different study. And then someone else was like, that's not what I know. So it's like they were all like ego tripping on each other, because it's like we're all alien experts, but they all believe different stuff. And it was just funny watching in real time that they were like tripping so hard over each other, where, I find that in the truther community or whatever, a lot of people tend to do that, where I'm just as honest as I can be. There's a lot of things I don't know. There's a lot of opinions I have. There's a lot of puzzle pieces that I'm putting together that, you know, there's always like an empty space or something that you're learning. I'm constantly learning new information. So I try to be as transparent as I can be, where it's like, I know this, I believe this is my opinion, but I'm not, you know, it's up for interpretation. Please feel free to push back or have comments or believe something else. That's just the type of person I am. But some people get mad at me and they're like, I know everything. I am the truth teller. I am and usually those are the false prophets, you know? Usually the best prophets are the ones that just show and tell. They're not like, it's not like a whole like everyone else's problem. You need to believe my information. I hold the keys to, it's like, I don't think so. But everybody's got their own style, what they're into. You know, everybody likes a different podcast. Some people like comedy, some people like emotion, some people like drama, you know, everybody likes something else. I personally like comedy. I don't know, people that are honest. I don't like when I catch somebody lying massively. That, to me, that's a red flag. And then if they won't admit to it. So there's people that I used to like that I feel like lie so much, but whatever. Someone said, I agree, Jason. Someone said, I is in the center of pride. Interesting. Thank you, Master Trainer. Someone said, nailed it. They proved how gullible the public is and how easy it is to manipulate pawns. I think that COVID-19 was like the greatest psychological experiment ever. It was crazy. Like in real time, it's just like, okay, there's a virus, sit inside your house for 15 days. And I get why people were scared for a while. It's like, is it a bioweapon? Is it this? Is it that? Are they trying to take our freedom away? And then after 15 days, I was just blown away because like for me, you know, it's a couple of days, like you're putting together the data, you're looking at stuff, you know, it's something sneaky, but you're trying to figure it out. And I feel like I kind of figured it out pretty quickly, but other people, they're like, the only way to defeat Russia is to funnel money to Zelensky and, you know, wear a mask. And it's like, it psychologically just baffles me, like how people interpreted this stuff. Like the only way to defeat Putin is to vaccinate my little kid. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, people just kind of, in my opinion, lost the plot a little bit. But someone said, WTF is COVID-19. Oh, it's just this thing. It's not a big deal. You know, nothing crazy. Someone said, Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, final solution. Yeah, Hegelian, like the problem solution thing is interesting. I know David Icke used to talk about it. I'm not like super familiar with its origins. Maybe he was the first one to talk about it. Maybe he just kind of piggybacked on someone else. But it's this idea that problem, reaction, solution. It's like if you want to accomplish something, you do something in order to make it happen. And, you know, this is like false flags. People say, oh my God, you're not allowed to talk about false flags. Yet Jen Psaki, the press secretary of Joe Biden, said that Russia was going to do a false flag, in order to start a war. I thought false flags were conspiracy theories. Thanks for telling me otherwise, Jen Psaki. But, you know, this is common practice in war. You don't have a reason to start the war you want to start, but you want to accomplish this goal. So it's like, how do you get there? You know, a lot of times in war, it's on record. They do a false flag to be like, whoa, what did you do that for? Now I need to invade. Now I need to do this. So, you know, this seems to be a very easy tactic for them. And here's the craziest part. Now you're not allowed to question anything. So at least back in the day, maybe you were allowed to, maybe not though. Maybe they always had control of the media, but you were allowed to question things and be like, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. Now they're like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. We're going to kick you off the internet for disagreeing with our narrative. So now it's giving these people like a red carpet to be like, we can pretty much do whatever we want. And these people are not allowed to question us. But you know, that's just a theory I wouldn't even say theory. It's just like something that people do in history. Someone said, I would buy a piece of the stone. Yeah, they should sell them. Georgia should sell them and, you know, donate the money to I don't know where they should donate it to, but I want to see what's in the time capsule. There's a time capsule under the ground. I'm not suggesting somebody dig it up, but if the Elbert County, construction company or whatever they are, if they want to dig it up, I would not be opposed to it. Why not? Someone said, if y'all miss Anomalies Malcolm X post, much watch. I appreciate it. A lot of my videos age well. It's kind of like a good song or like, something that like you know, these videos are like George Carlin that you watch and he said it like 40 years ago, but it's like still true to this day. Malcolm X has a lot of those too. If you speak the truth and you're ahead of your time, you know, it just lasts forever. So I'm not saying all of my videos are that way, but I would say more than CNN, more than the little demon gremlin fact checkers that try to lie about me all the time. Like, a lot of my content ages very well. You know, I wouldn't say all of it does, but a lot of it is pretty honest. I'm not making grandiose claims all the time that I can't prove. I'm usually trying to stay within what I know. So a lot of videos, the Malcolm X video, the Georgia Guidestones video, all the COVID videos, most of them age like fine wine because I'm not lying. But let's see. Someone said Bioweapon was on point. Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my songs. Bioweapon streaming on Spotify right now. Who said that? Thank you, commercial voice guy. Someone said, I heard there's a baseball in the time capsule. Well, you don't know till you know. Thank you, Master Trainer. I appreciate you. I'm going to see. Time capsule. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I just clicked the link. Dang. Oh, somebody sent a Rumble thing and I clicked on it by mistake. My bad. What if the explosion was to open the time capsule? I mean, they could have tried, but I don't think they succeeded. I don't know though. You know, I would, if I really wanted to know, I would go down to Georgia and like investigate. But Anomaly, what happened to the uploading on Apple Podcasts? I used to listen to you when I'm at the gym. It's on Apple. So if you go to Dream Rare Podcast, I'll put it on the screen right after this. Let me see. Dream Rare Podcast. This is actually a live show. You're a part of my podcast, Warda. Welcome to the podcast. So if you just search Dream Rare Podcast, it's on Apple, Spotify, Podbean. I don't know where people listen to podcasts, but it's literally everywhere. So just search Dream Rare Podcast. It's just not updated in real time. You got to wait like 24 hours a lot to get that. So that's what it is. And of course the hats. These are actually, I don't know if you can see, sorry, my hair's all messed up, but these are the cream colored hats. So these are not white, they're like cream colored. They're slightly off-white, but they were a bestseller when I was in person. People were buying these like 10 to 1. I was surprised. I thought the other hats would sell better, but people like the cream color. For whatever reason, maybe because someone said really lightning hit it. I don't think lightning hit it. I think there's an explosion, but people always have like an alternate theory. I think it was an explosion. I think somebody did a detonation of some sort. But I'm not like, I don't know. Sometimes people get mad where they're like, you are gatekeeper. It's like, this is what I believe. I believe it was an explosion. But if you want to think something else, I'm not going to stop you. But I would say try to find proof or something. Thank you, Tamora. I appreciate it. Let's see. Someone said the time capsule will have a bunch of Masonic Bible stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. There's only one way to find out. Georgia, get your construction crews, you know? If you're going to knock down the whole thing, you might as well get the time capsule. What, are you just going to leave it there? I think they wanted it to be opened, you know? It's been there for 40 years, you know? Let the state of Georgia legally open the time capsule. Someone said, I don't care what it was. They're gone. That's all that matters to me. I guess, I mean, I don't know. I like the fact that they existed so you could point to it and be like, people really feel this way. You know, because if you're like, hey, they want to keep the population under 500 million. They're like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. No one thinks that way. It's like, it's on the Guidestones. What do you mean no one thinks that way? They literally spent money, time, and effort to geometrically create this thing, like this massive idol that says that. But someone said they want to frame a truther. Let me see. Hold on. They want to frame a truther, a conservative. Yeah, but here's my thing is like, I'm not blame. Like, it's no one to blame. No one is to blame for this besides who did it. But like, who else would knock down? Who else would try to knock down the Georgia Guidestones besides like a truther or a conservative? I'm not saying that's how it happened, but it's like no one else cares about this stuff except for truthers. So I would, no offense, but if I was like the police in Georgia or like the investigation unit, that would be my first guess. You know, I wouldn't blame random truthers or anything, but it's like, who else would knock down the Guidestones? If it was an explosion and, you know, if it was like a group or a lone wolf, I would assume it would be that, you know. I wouldn't blame random people, but Who else would want to knock it down? Someone said, Kissinger said those who reject the international order are terrorists. I haven't heard that quote, but not surprising. I wouldn't doubt it. Someone said, news surveillance video showing silver car speeding from the Georgia Guidestones shortly after the explosion. I don't know much about it, so I don't want to speak on it, but I do know there is like a manhunt, or, they are looking for the people who did it. So, we'll see. What if it was QAnon? It was Q. It was like they have the security footage and they're like, who did this? And there's just a giant like Q letter from Sesame Street just running, and it's like, ah. They're like, security footage, all we have is one giant Q letter that has seemed to escape from the, Sesame Street cast and crew. And the Q's like, I just got fed up with all the left-wing politics involved in Sesame Street. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't stay any longer. I was the letter of the day for 12 years straight, but I had to escape, and it was literally the letter Q that did it. So we're starting our own theory. QAnon himself possibly did the Georgia Guidestones crime and needs to be held accountable, okay? Find that Q. It could be anywhere. Is it Q? Who is it? Let's see. Someone said you can't just blow up solid granite. You have to core drill it. I don't know. Yeah. I would say that would be a better angle if people had an alternate theory to figure out how that rock works, but I don't know. I'm not a construction guy, but I would think a big enough explosion could do some sort of damage. It's not like the whole thing blew up, just a chunk of it blew up. I think one of the rocks blew up, and maybe they did enough damage where the people just wanted to knock the whole thing down. I don't know, though. I would say knock yourself out trying to disprove it. Did I not see the Beirut explosion? I did not, but I'll look it up. You mean not the recent one. I remember the one that was like a year ago or so. I think that's the one you're talking about. Let's see. My family owns Stone Creek Quarry. I grew up in this job, pink granite specifically. Yeah, that would be an interesting angle for sure to try to like figure out how the rock works, but maybe. I just don't know the motives. Like, what would be the motive of them faking the Georgia Guidestone thing? I don't know. But at this point, I'm not like I don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore. I don't have like a strong stance on this, so I'm not gonna really like debate it unless I'm just playing both sides, like to try to get the best out of both sides. I think it probably was an explosion, but if you think not, maybe you can like make a video on it, how the rocks work. Someone said it was Donald Trump with his strong bare hands. He grabbed it by the clavicle. Of course, he was wearing his invisible superhero jumpsuit. Yeah, I mean, it could have been Trump and Putin. They could have been invisible. They could have just grabbed the stone. And you know how strong Trump is after he eats McDonald's. He just, sometimes he just, and then the whole, it was Trump, Putin, and QAnon. They did it. So if the Georgia County Police needs help, I would say look for a big Q, look for Putin, and look for an orange man with a bag of McDonald's, and you might be onto something. Angelica said, thoughts on CERN? I want to say this. That was a good one. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Where did it go? Okay. Angelica, I'm trying to find the comment. There's so many coming in. Gosh, we're so popular. There's too many comments. No, I'm just kidding. But thoughts on CERN? I'm not worried about it. I think it's like a psyop to stress people out. I'm not saying that nothing's happening, but CERN, if you guys don't know, it's like in Europe somewhere. They're just like smashing particles or like flying them in circles. I don't even know exactly what they're doing. You'd have to look it up for the more scientific reasoning. But so many people were messaging me last week freaking out. January 5th or July 5th, it's going to turn on. It's going to turn on. I'm like, don't be afraid of it. To me, that's the whole thing. If you're afraid of it, like, that's how the devil wins. He wants you to be afraid of the left wing, afraid of the right wing, afraid of the pronouns, afraid of the, January 6th, afraid of the virus, afraid, fear. So to me, it's like, I don't think they're going to do anything. It could just be like they're wasting a lot of money accomplishing nothing, or maybe they're doing what they did with like gain of function, where they're just in over their heads and doing too much scientifically. But either way, it's like, it's, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. So to me, it's July 7th. You know, nothing has changed in my life since they did CERN. They could just be lying and taking money. I don't know. Someone said, why were they so quick to demolish it completely? It's a good question. I mean, I would say the first thing I thought of was, if you blow something up but you don't completely destroy it and it's off kilter, you know, it's out of commission. So people used to walk up really close to the Georgia Guidestones. Now, if it were damaged from the explosion, you know, the whole site is defunct anyway, because it's like, you know, the explosion, if it did enough shifting of the stones, you know, in some form, I don't know. That's my best guess. But someone said CERN is looking for dark matter. Well, they should just turn on CNN. There's a lot of dark matter on there. Dark reporting, dark energy. They don't need to smash particles together. Just watch some of these left-wing programming on television. Let me see. Every mainstream media outlet covered it. That's a clue. I don't know. I mean, I saw it in local news and stuff, but it's definitely a virally story. Maybe if I were like any news outlet, you know, I covered it years ago before it was like super trendy. But when that happens, like, all people want are clicks. Like, there aren't really journalists nowadays, you know, that do their own stories. It's like, oh, there's a story. Let's copy paste. Let's get clicks. So maybe, you know, maybe it's a setup and that's why they're covering it, but I think they just want clicks in a lot of cases. But someone said dark matter is a psyop. I'm not, like, to me, a lot of this stuff is like, you know, like climate change, CERN, like there's an asteroid coming. I'm not saying something can't happen where something bad happens in the world because of actions of humans, but you know, oh my God, there's an asteroid the size of McDonald's coming to your town, and then it never hits. And oh my God, CERN's gonna kill you because the truther told you on their channel, I'm a truther, CERN, ah! I'm like, I have a truth for you, Mr. Truther. Being that stressed out and fearful over particles slamming together in Europe isn't gonna stop particles slamming together in Europe. So there's actually no strategic reason to be that upset. You know, it's like being freaking out about CERN isn't going to stop it. So what's the point? You get what I'm saying? So it's like, the truth is not just I report on theories all the time. The truth is also like, do some push-ups, you know, enjoy your day. The truth is also, there's no strategic benefit to freaking out over everything. So dark matter, asteroids, CERN, I'm not really tripping about any of it. I think it's mostly, it's like even climate change, same thing. It's like, oh my God, you know, these poor left-wing kids literally think they're going to die in like 2 years. They don't realize that they've been saying this for like 60 years. And they're like freaking out. They're like putting themselves on Michelangelo. They're like causing a scene at tennis things. Like, they're literally freaking out because the kids literally believe that they're all going to die if, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't become president or something. So it's like, it's not healthy. It's really dark. So I would say left wing or right wing, don't be afraid of all this stuff. Be pragmatic, invent things. Even with Georgia Guidestones, I don't even recommend knocking them down. It's like, build something of your own. You know, anybody could knock something down. I mean, it's probably harder to knock those down, but you get what I'm saying? Like, build something great. Everybody wants to destroy Michelangelo because I'm mad at the climate. Destroy Thomas Jefferson because I hate America. Build something. Besides the George Floyd statue, you know, like the world is ripe. It's time to build and create and, you know, be creative. But someone said, grab fear by the clavicle. Exactly, seen and heard. You got it. There's no, to me, like I said this the other day, but if CERN was going to throw off the whole world on July 5th, it clearly didn't, but it only just threw me off slightly for this live stream. Whoa, no, but it's like, if I only had a week left to live and they're like, CERN is going to kill everybody because liberals are out of control. It's like, what would I do with my last week of life? Would I just freak out on Instagram? Is that the truth? These truthers are just like fear-mongering psychos, and they want to drag you into their misery. I'm not saying everybody. There's some great truthers out there, but it's like misery loves company. So a lot of these people are miserable and pessimistic and paranoid, so they want to drag you into their psychotic world and freak out at you if you don't drag in. If we really only had a week, enjoy your week. I would have partied even harder over 4th of July weekend if I would have known that CERN was going to do that. And if CERN isn't going to do that, then I shouldn't freak out. So it's like, no matter if CERN is really going to destroy the world or not, have fun, enjoy your life. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. That's the answer either way. There is, like, anybody that's paranoid, freaking out over this stuff, they're not your friend. They're just, misery loves company. They're scared and they're fearful, and they want you to be scared and fearful with them. That's why there's, I like the truth, but I don't like paranoid, fearful people. I'm not saying to not be worried about things like food shortages. Some people are like, do you think there's going to be a food shortage? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, if they keep on this route, it wouldn't shock me that they run. I mean, it blows my mind that they haven't already screwed up. America's such a good country that we're not, there's now hiring signs everywhere. There's countries where you literally can't find a job, but in America, it's like now hiring everywhere. So if it happened, I mean, I don't know. Left wing, like pronouns, like nobody, it's like, just make the food. I don't care what pronoun you have, just nobody wants to do anything anymore. It's like, it's all about me. Instead of coding, I'm just going to cry in my HR department. It's like, I'm literally blown away that America hasn't already like collapsed. It's God is great. I'm glad that this country somehow still functions. But if that happened, there's no sense in being freaked out about it all the time. It's like, if you really think there's going to be a food shortage, have a plan. Have food, have gasoline, or whatever you need planned out in your head, I guess. If I really thought there was going to be a food shortage within the next couple months, I would have a plan. I have a plan in general, but it's like part of how I live my life is my plan already. I've already gotten away from areas I don't want to be stuck at, places I don't want to go, I don't go. I think if things really imploded, like the cities would potentially possibly take it hard, maybe rural areas too, I don't know, but just be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. We said that at the beginning of the pandemic, and we say it now. That's it. Count all the joy. That's it. I mean, I don't know. I remember when Trump when he wasn't doing certain things that people wanted him to do, people kept telling me, well, what if Trump was being threatened? What if they were threatening him? And it's like, so what? He's 70-something years old. If you're a coward, there's soldiers that are 20 years old that go over to Afghanistan, Iraq, and other countries to die for America. What if they're afraid of being threatened? They don't give a crap. They're courageous. It's called courage. This country needs to get some. So that was always, I'm not saying that happened, but that cop out of like, what if Trump, they're threatened? He's 70-something years old. If you won't sacrifice yourself for your country at 70, you're a coward. There's people who do it at 18 years old. So it's like, in general, everybody acts like you're going to live forever. Maybe your soul will, but your body probably won't. Unless you hook up to a Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk robot or something. Everybody does the same, just like me. I'm starting to get gray hair in my thing. I'm not going to be young forever. I'm okay with it. I'm going to get older. Hopefully I go to heaven. I think I will, but you get what I'm saying? It's like people act like they're going to live forever. What are you so afraid of? Even if everything goes right, you're still going to get older. Your body's still going to wear down, and you're still going to die like everybody else. It's just, that's just how it works. And hopefully you go to heaven and you live forever in the afterlife. But I don't know why worry about everything. CERN, food shortage, like you're going to get older. It's you're not. It's like the equivalent of like women who get plastic surgery all the time. It's it's like you're freaking out. You do what you can do, but after that, don't worry about it all the time. So someone said we're all gonna die and we're all gonna pay taxes. That's the old saying, exactly, Master Trainer. They say you're gonna have to pay taxes and die unless you're John McAfee. You can, I guess, run away on a boat with guns for a couple of years. But you get what I'm saying? I don't understand why people freak out over everything. It's like even if I play all my cards right, my body's still eventually going to get older. Hopefully I take care of it, but there's people that freak out. It's not the truth. The truth is, things. Information's good. This is also the problem. It goes deeper than even left-wing or right-wing psychologically. Like, why are left-wing college-educated people some of the worst people in the country and some of the worst voters in the country? Why are they voting less common sense and logical than, somebody from middle America with no degree that, might not even have the same vocabulary that they have? It's because intelligence isn't education. Going to college doesn't mean you're smart all the time. And also, sometimes people are egotistical. Some of the most egotistical people are like teachers, because now you're the boss and I know everything. I'm the teacher. Sometimes they're the dumbest people because they just have this massive ego. Teachers, academics, even doctors sometimes. People got to check your own ego. Psychologically, the left is failing because they just hate the right so much. They have no self-awareness, no self-accountability, and this massive ego. Well, if I could pick out the dumbest person from middle America and just stare at him all the time, I'll feel good about myself. It's like if I played basketball with kindergartners and I dunked on a Fisher-Price net, and I'm like, I'm the greatest, and I don't even have to think about anyone else. Like, that's the psychology. They just focus on the worst of the worst. They find somebody they don't like in left-wing media, and they just rail at it all the time and feel like they're superior. It's like it's like liberal supremacy. And then you get to a lot of truthers and right-wing people, it could be the same thing. At the end of the day, AOC is a weirdo. There's a lot of creepy stuff happening in the schools, and you should protect your kids. But, our whole life shouldn't be just comparing ourselves to the worst of the worst from the other side, because then you become bad. It's not impressive to be better than the worst left-winger. I mean, that's easy. That's a low target. So, and a lot of truthers, it's like, they have the same ego that a teacher has. I know everything because I'm a truther. I'm the truth. I'm the truth. If you don't believe me, it's the truth. It's like you become the same psychological conundrum of like a highly educated professor. It's like you know a lot, but you're also dumb. And you're also like negative and fearful. Have I been baptized when I was a kid? I probably should be rebaptized, but I want to make sure it's by someone legit, not some like creepy hypocrite pastor, but we'll see. Someone said, I like when you go hard. Hold on. Yo, I kind of like it when you go hard like this, bro. You're the funniest dude on YouTube. Well, I appreciate it, Sammy. I do think my humor's underrated, but I don't really care. I don't do it for that. It's funny to be funny. I don't know. It's better to laugh than to cry. People are like, oh my God, CERN. Be concerned about the CERN. I'm like, I don't care. It's fine. I'll be fine. You're not a truther if you're not freaking out. Like, they want you to just be like pulling your hair out like, Ted Turner. Ted Turner's gonna hurt me. Bill Gates. It's like, dude, it's all right, bro. Yes, there are weirdo billionaires. There's some really bad stuff out there, but I like to focus on the positive. I don't know. I saw Ice-T tweet. I'll read what he tweeted. Ice-T. It's like some people are just so ungrateful. It's ugly. I don't care if you're a 10 as a woman. It's still ugly to be so ungrateful. But here's Ice-T, not a woman. I'm just saying. He said the United States was founded by men who owned slaves and didn't extend equal rights to women. So can we stop pretending like all the documents they wrote are infallible? It's like, Ice-T, you're a multimillionaire in America. People of every race, religion, and gender love you and your wife or your ex. I don't know if you're still married. I don't know. You've made something in America. Do you think you're smart enough when it comes to like psychology and like Constitution to create a better document than the Constitution? That's just like, slaves, so it's like, bro, you're on reality show and stuff. You get to do whatever you want. It's not a great country? Of course it is. I'm annoyed at what's going on, but it's still a great country. My tweet got retweeted by the richest person on the planet. Guys, I'm a nobody. I don't have 1/1,000th of what Elon Musk has. I mean, less than that. I can't do the math right now, but it's like somehow I'm able to communicate with the richest person on the planet through a social media network where we're all pretty much level for the most part. You've been able to come from the hood and make millions of dollars, maybe tens of millions of dollars. And you're not grateful at all? You're just going to focus on the negative of America and try to rewrite the Constitution? Like, I'm so tired of it, I don't care if you're left-wing, right-wing, black, white, truther, whatever. It's like, have a little bit of gratefulness. You don't have to like the country. You don't have to like Republicans. You don't have to like Democrats. You don't have to like Trump or Biden. but have an ounce of gratefulness. Even now, it's not that bad. I mean, inflation is bad. Prices are bad, but it's not that bad, or else people would be working more, you know? And don't tell me it's because of the wage. Oh, no, they're not being paid enough. No. There's 18-year-olds now that are just sitting home, like, you know, just like watching Twitch streams and not even making money. It's like they could be working. I worked when I was like 15. You know what I'm saying? I got $5 an hour, you know, working as a cashier. I worked when I was in college. I could have worked harder, but I worked on a farm. I lived on a farm. It's like you could do something. If it were that bad, people would be sending their kids out to do these jobs that are hiring, but there's so many people that are just not working right now. So even a mix, inflation, possible maybe recession coming, a pandemic, you know, where the government enslaved us and told us they helped us, it's still not as bad as Sri Lanka. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so racist here, the racist white people. Cool, Ice-T, go to Sri Lanka. See how much fun you have, bro. You won't. You want to stay in one of the greatest countries in the world, if not the greatest country. You know, you want to keep making because you can just get paid to be a dummy. They'll put you on television with your wife and just be like, yeah, you know, whatever. And people will pay you and everybody likes you. It's great. I'm not knocking it. I think you're a cool guy. You don't want to go to Sri Lanka where the inflation literally sends the whole country on a lopside. In America, you have inflation and people are getting fatter. They're not starving. They're getting fatter, and their kids don't want to work because they're too busy watching makeup tutorials on YouTube. You know, it's not that bad. Could be worse. It could get worse, but I'm tired of people just being so ungrateful. So it's not even like a political thing. It tends to be more right-wing because right-wingers, not all of them, but you know, they tend to believe in discipline, like all these workout bros and people like Carnivore Aurelius, they're talking about like eating differently. You know, they don't even talk about politics, but they seem right-wing. They get, ooh, the right-wing people of the health. It's because discipline, self-awareness, self-accountability, improving your life goes more hand in hand with the right wing, pull you up by your own bootstraps, than the left wing. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, everything's great. Everything's not great, you know? Everybody has potential. Nobody should have less rules, you know what I'm saying? Everybody should have equal opportunity to thrive, but no, it's not. You know, if I was 500 pounds, I wouldn't be as fast at running as myself now. That's the reality. And if I lost more weight and got in better shape and gained even more muscle, I'd be even better. You know, that's just how the world works. It's not like so, you know, taking care of yourself seems right wing now because left wingers are like thriving in their own sin and acting like it's amazing. But, you know, there's a lot of people, even in the right and truth or community, that they don't like the way I talk about stuff, you know, because I'm a grateful person and I'm optimistic. And that bothers some people because misery loves company. People that are miserable want you to be miserable. So if I come out and say, hey, I don't believe Elon Musk in everything, we don't agree on everything, but I think Elon Musk is funny, that alone bothers miserable people because they're like, I hate Elon Musk. He's going to put a chip in my head. CERN, I'm afraid. And I'm like, I know you're a mess, you know, and you want everyone else that watches you to be a mess. I'm not a mess. You know, I'm not miserable. People hate me for that. I never said I agree with everything that Elon does. If you want to know the truth, there's an entire sector of work that Elon Musk does that I'm not even sure I believe he's even really doing. That's how skeptical I am of the guy. But I'm not a miserable person, so I find him funny, and I do appreciate the fact that he does tell the truth about certain topics. That's just how I feel. You know, that's just the type of person I am. Same with Donald Trump. My most controversial video was saying Trump's not that bad. I'm like, Trump is underrated. You know, when he was in office, I'm like, I didn't even vote for Trump in 2016. I did in 2020, obviously, but I didn't vote for him in 2016. That was my video. That was controversial because even then I was like, I didn't vote for Trump, but if you actually look at what he's doing, he's not that bad. He's actually doing some liberal things, and the conservative things that he's doing are not that bad, you know? Oh my God, it's like abortion. Oh, my whole world's ending. No, it's not. It's actually, you could take it, even if you're pro-choice, you could take some benefit, even if you hate everything about it. Be like, hey, maybe I should think a little bit more about how much I have sex, you know? Maybe I should think about it more because people used to like wait until they were married to have sex and they weren't just like banging people at EDM concerts all the time with no condom on. You know, it's not good. I'm not saying you can't go to an EDM concert and get a dance on, but it's like you shouldn't let guys nut in you at a Dead Mouse concert every weekend, you know? And if that's your lifestyle, like abortion, birth control pills, and just letting guys bust in you while listening to like DJ Tiesto, maybe it's time to just slightly take some accountability and take a benefit from this. Even when Biden won, I was obviously not thrilled, but I was like, maybe this is what needs to happen for the pendulum to swing the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, things need to get so bad so it goes the other way. Maybe now people will realize that the government is corrupt. Like, if Joe Biden, a senile geriatric patient, can lead the country, maybe now people will realize that he's not actually leading the country. Somebody else is pulling the strings, because clearly Joe Biden's not the mastermind behind this plan. I'm always trying to think of like a good angle to it. It's like, yeah, I didn't want this guy to win. He's going to screw over probably my bank account and, you know, be scammy and ruin stuff. However, maybe people will wake up now. And it is actually happening a little bit. Like, people don't like Joe Biden. We'll see what happens with the abortion thing, if that throws off the midterms. But, you know, I don't know. I do think that it's becoming pretty obvious. And how many people are not getting it? I don't know. Television's like dying out. Good. You know, television sucks. So many people still believe like a movie script. You know, they live in the suburbs and they just watch CNN and MSNBC and they're like, you know, the number one issue is January 6th. Like, you know, it's like, if you actually were struggling or working class, you would realize that like meat prices going × 2, gas prices, people are making it work, but people are struggling. I can't imagine how much, because I live by myself. I don't have kids. I don't have that many expenses, and I'm even taking a hit where I'm like, geez, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing pretty well, but I'm like, damn, you know, I don't even have what I had a year ago. So, you know, this is the big concern. Not you glued to your couch eating canola oil chips, staring at freaking Jake Tapper talk about January 6th. Yeah, that matters to you because you're not like tapped into the real world. And then there's people that are so brainwashed. They're like, I'm willing to be poor to fight Putin. And like, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Putin is wrecking Ukraine right now. They lied to you. People that have Ukraine flags in their bio, oh my God, I'm fighting for Ukraine. You're sacrificing Ukraine. We told you this from the very beginning. From the very beginning, Putin said, here's what I want in order to stop a war. And Zelensky said, I'm Martin Luther King. I'm Harriet Tubman. I'm everyone in history. Now give me your money so I can do cocaine. I'm just kidding. He may or may not do cocaine. I don't know. You know, let's ask the fact checkers. I'm just kidding. It's comedy, folks. But at the same time, sometimes his eyes are looking a little bloodshot, in my opinion. Maybe it's lack of sleep. Maybe it's the white girl. But anyway, long story short, it's like they could have stopped all of this stuff, but the West and all of these Ukraine flag in the bio, you justified Zelensky for not striking a deal. So if we didn't offer all this stuff, he probably would have been like, yeah, okay, I'll strike a deal and not kill thousands of my people. But instead, he decided to sacrifice his own people. They're getting absolutely dominated and worked. And the West and NATO isn't even helping them. You know what I'm saying? People used to get mad at me. Luckily, this like all phased out. But they're like, Anomaly, you're totally wrong about Ukraine. Go fight there then. This is the one war that you can't disagree with me, because it's like a crowd-funded, like, you know, bootleg war. If you believe I'm so wrong and you're so right, go to Ukraine and fight. You know, if you have a Ukraine flag in your bio, it does nothing. Go there. They were accepting foreign fighters. Go there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to. You just want to put a flag in your bio. But it's like, the US and NATO doesn't even want to help them. They're like, here's money and stuff. And they're like, can you give us like bigger weapons? And they're like, no. You know, can you send us troops? No. So how are they going to win the war? They're not. They just sacrifice their own people, sacrifice their own country. And now what? What do we have to show for it? Imploding. Oh, wow, the left's agenda just magically happened. Now everybody's suffering and oil prices are high. It's not like Ted Turner probably didn't want that for decades. You know, oh, wow, this spontaneous war that just, you know, is surging oil prices. And now they can blame a lot of the pandemic, like food prices and supply chain issues from lockdowns, on Putin. Wow, what a it's like it happened like the day after. It's like, oh, you know, we're going to roll back restrictions, and, you know, the next contestant on The Price is Right is war with Ukraine. And everyone's like, Anomaly, I was with you on COVID, and, you know, I thought you were right on Trump, but you don't understand. I watch Mark Levin, and Mark Levin's a straight shooter, and you know, he's pretended to be my friend for 4 years, and if he says we need to go give Zelensky money, then we do. I'm like, whatever. But I don't know. It's just like, is what it is. Someone said, how many billions did we give Ukraine? Wasn't it like 40 billion? I believe it's over 50 billion now, because I think we gave them like 30 something billion, 5 billion. I don't know. I think it was 40 billion at once, but then we gave them like 6 billion before. And part of that money was for the economy. I'm going to do another video. I'm going to cut this one off. God bless you guys. I appreciate you. But I'm going to do another video. We actually just sent like 5 million barrels of oil to Europe. This should be like treasonous behavior, in my opinion. And I don't like to use that word, but it's like we're suffering in America and we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine's economy. Our economy's suffering and we're sending money to Ukraine's economy. What? They should send us money. We're helping them. But, you know, and then we're having this massive oil thing. They unload their strategic reserves and send send the oil overseas. This is crazy, you know, but this is why they brainwash people so much on the left and on the right, but especially on the left. It's like, if you hate yourself and you hate your country, you don't care. If you're like Ice-T, you're like, well, the slaves wrote the Constitution, so I don't care about the Constitution. They want you to think that, Ice-T. Yeah, I get what you're saying. 1700s weren't perfect. But what you don't understand, if you read the Constitution, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, even the Roe versus Wade decision was good for you. You might not think so, but it's like to let the states decide. You don't want the federal government doing everything. You want them. Now you get to vote. If you live in Georgia, vote for it. If you live in California, vote for it. That's better than Obama, Bush, Trump, or Biden telling everybody what they have to do. You hate the Constitution so much, you don't get how it actually puts space between you and the government. I didn't get the Constitution for a long time. I used to be ignorant like Ice-T when I was 19 years old and 20 years old, but I grew up. Ice-T, it doesn't grow up, I guess. You know, I used to think the Constitution was dumb too. And then I grew up, I became an adult, I started paying taxes, and I read it. And I was like, oh, this document actually is for people. Not for the government, not for the slave owner, not for the evil people. It's for the people. It's like very rare. That's why they want to get rid of it so badly, because it actually puts space between you and the government. Most places don't have that. They have kings and queens and fake dictators, you know? So they want people to hate themselves and hate the country, because if you hate yourself and hate the country, you don't care about anything. Oh, I hate the country, so let's get rid of the Constitution. I hate the country, so borders don't exist. I hate the country, so I don't care if the economy implodes. I hate myself, so I don't care if I pay more for everything. You know, if you love yourself and you love your country and you appreciate, you don't have to like everything, appreciate what you have, you're not so easy to fool. You're not going to want to get scammed by the government. Right-wingers, to their credit, believe that the government's too big, although the Republican Party just makes it bigger all the time. You know, they're just at a slightly slower rate. The Democrats believe the government's corrupt, but they're like, yeah, you know, the government's corrupt, so we need to pay more taxes. Where do your taxes go? To the government. Why would you want to give them more money, power, and control? Left-wingers don't get it. They think Trump's so bad, but they want him to lock down more. What? If you think Trump is literally Hitler, why would you want him to lock down your business? Trump's a dictator because he didn't lock down harder. It's like, what? Trump needs to make Georgia and South Dakota lock down. To Trump's credit, he didn't force them to. He played along with it. He definitely lied. He definitely extended it too much and, you know, was a leader who was telling people to lock down for too long, but he didn't force the states to do it, to his credit. That's a good thing. You think Trump's a dictator, but you want him to force the entire country to lock down? Like, these people are literally dumb. And then you have these phony truthers that are like, Anomaly doesn't get it. I get it more than you get it. You know, I'd say both parties are corrupt. I say the right wing's expanding, but there also is ideology behind these parties that go deeper than Democrat and Republicans. Left-wing ideology, it's actually not the same as right-wing ideology. The people controlling both parties are trying hard to put them in the same direction, but there is also a social philosophy behind what's going on here. And you can't tell me that left-wing culture of pronouns is exactly the same as what right-wingers are doing. It's not. Although I would say the Republican Party is getting gayer and gayer. You know, it's like before they're like, we oppose gay marriage. Now they're like, here's Caitlyn Jenner on Fox 5. You know, it's like the slippery slope is real. And, you know, it's like if you disagree with something, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were a homophobe. It's like, I'm not saying I don't like people. I'm just, like Christian pastors used to say this was happening. I call Pride Month apologize to your Christian pastor month, because they're like, if you let gay people get married, it's going to get crazy. And it's like, dude, relax. They just want to, scam. They want to get government scam just like straight couples. They want to sign away their rights or whatever to the government and take half of their spouse's money. Let them get scammed by the government too. And then it's like 10 years later, it's like pronouns. Caitlyn Jenner's on Fox News. I'm not saying Caitlyn Jenner's not a nice person. I'm just saying it is like pretty funny. Like, that like right wingers used to be like, we're against this. And now it's like, oh, no. We're only against, grooming children. But the rest of it we're fine with. We're going to host on the stage. It's like, I don't know. My thing is this, and then I'm going to leave. I don't care what side of the debate people are on with that. What I don't like that the Republican Party does is they gatekeep the slippery slope. They become the slippery slope. They slowly kind of decline and can't hold ground. And then they try to like kick out right-wingers that disagree with them. Listen, if you're the Republican Party, you have to have pro-gay and anti-gay people. You can't just have pro-gay people at your event and kick out anti-gay people, because now that's when you turn into the Democratic Party. It's like you need to host debates and discussions and stuff, but you can't just like, oh, why do these Christians feel this way? It's like, why wouldn't they feel that way? I'm a nice person that doesn't hate people based on their sexuality or what they think their sexuality is. I'll treat you like a good person if you're a good person. But, socially, psychologically, politically, religiously, I'm also allowed to have my opinion and be like, I don't have to agree with everything. I'm the type of person where if I really care about you, I'm not going to hate on you. I'm going to try to get to the core of what's going on and help you. So I don't treat people badly. But, even I would say the right Republican parties too far left socially in some ways, because they just gatekeep the slippery slope and act like it's crazy to think that the slippery slope's happening. And this is a question to have. It's like, how do you stop it, right? How do you stop the slippery slope from happening? In my opinion, at a certain point, you have to like put your feet down. But it's like, where are the feet getting put down? They're getting put down so far down the river that it doesn't matter. So it's like, same with like Roe versus Wade when that got overturned. It's like, yeah, that's fine with me. States should be able to decide. I don't think Christian conservative states that don't believe in abortion should have to be superseded by Joe Biden and Gavin Newsom. That's not a good policy. And they're like, we're losing. The world's melting because we can't get aborted in Utah. It's like, just move to a different state. The same way I can move to a red state and open carry. If I prioritize open carrying a gun for my safety, then I'll move. And if you prioritize that, it's just wild. But appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Just a few things real quick. If you'd like to support, there's a few ways. GodBlessHats.com. I have hats, t-shirts, etc. Dream Rare Podcast. I mean, it's just my podcast. I'm trying to grow it. And, check it out. If you're on the road, like somebody said, I can't find your podcast, just search Dream Rare Podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, everything. My Telegram channel, if you're like, hey, I always miss your live streams, t.me/DreamRareChat or at DreamRareChat like that. You could always catch my streams. Usually I put them up 2 minutes or 3 minutes before I go live, and you'll get a notification. And if you miss it, you'll just get the links. It's definitely very, very helpful. And that's pretty much it. Patreon.com/RareTalk. I have 3 hidden podcasts. We're going to do a secret podcast this month with friends and just stuff that I'm not doing publicly. So Patreon.com/RareTalk. And also Facebook supporters. I appreciate you guys so much. I had a busy month, but we will do a private live stream this month as well. It's just been a crazy 2 months for me, but it's been good. A lot of family time, a lot of stuff that, in my opinion, is important. I like, obviously, live streaming. I like doing my job. I like keeping up with stuff, and certainly I am very grateful that I'm able to make a living doing this, so I don't like to slack. But I have been flying back home, seeing my family, doing certain things, and that's even better than money or like truth material, because the truth is not just like, oh, I know the Georgia Guidestones. It's also like spending time with people you like. So I've been trying to do that more this year, because time flies when you're having fun, and time also flies when they lock you in your house, and 2 years seems like 6 months. So thank you guys. I appreciate the flexibility, and I'll be back very soon. God bless you guys, and